preach an introduction to his family, and 1 week at a family reunion they are having in Placerville, California. He will address us as if we are his family. Oh, that's exciting. He's anxious to get your feedback on how he can improve this presentation. Christopher is working out of Pathways Visionary Communication. He's working on Project 3, researching and presenting the topic. His requirements are to use and cite reputable sources correctly. He's going to take 8 to 10 minutes, and the title of his speech is The Family Legacy. At this time, please welcome Christopher.
Thank you. Good morning, family. I'm excited to be with you this morning. There are only a handful of people that knew our great-grandparents, and they're with us in this room tonight. And it's going to be a privilege for all of us to hear from our aunt and uncles, and then talk about their experiences with our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, and their life histories and so I'm excited to introduce them. But before I do that, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. And one is this booklet that we've compiled. There's 22 of our ancestors in here, and in doing this research, I was really touched and frankly amazed by the legacy that we all come from. I had no idea some of the hardships and sacrifices that our ancestors made. And I was stymied in trying to do some of this research because a lot of them didn't leave a life story or a history. And so I had to go back through census records and try to piece things together as best I could. And it's another blessing we have is that we have people here tonight actually who knew some of these people that we could talk to them. Because when I was doing research for some of these ancestors, there was no one to talk to. They'd long been dead. And my hope in putting this together is when you read this, you can have a greater appreciation for the family that we come from. We have some items that we're going to raffle tonight. But before I introduce those items, I want to talk to you about a woman that I found out about, our 5th great-great-grandmother, Sarah Marshall Good. Sarah Marshall Good was born in England in the 1850s or 1830s. She was the 7th child of 14 children. And when the missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints came to England during that time in the early 1850s, she was interested because she'd read the Bible. She wanted to know what their message was. So she carried a baby in her arms 20 miles to go hear these missionaries preach. And she liked their message, and she wanted to join with them. But her husband, Thomas, was bitterly opposed to her having anything to do with the church and said, absolutely not. And if he caught her going to a meeting, he would beat her to get his message across. It's not acceptable. So she was sneaking off going to meetings, and the church members would watch out for him. And if he was coming, if they saw him coming, she would sneak out. And the beatings continued. She prayed that her stumbling blocks to join the church would be removed. And this guy Thomas wanted to make a stronger point. So one night, and I did I went up to Franklin, Idaho, where Sarah eventually settled. And there's a huge folder there, a newspaper article from the time. And I read this in a newspaper article, and I checked it out with my great aunt, Aunt Shirley. And I said, what's up with this story? And this is the version she gave me. So there's a couple of conflicting versions, but she wanted to join the church. He wasn't having it, and he wasn't getting through to his wife. So what he did is he put some sheep dip in her glass. And sheep dip is what they use to keep parasites off of sheep. And he was going to poison her with it to let her know, hey man, I don't want you with these Mormons. And so she had a distinct prompting to not drink that cup. And when he was distracted, I mean, this is straight out of a Princess Bride story, right? You're like, what? So when he was distracted, she switched cups with him. And he ended up drinking this poison, became deathly ill. He didn't die right away, but he died a couple months later. And little did she know that her stumbling block would be removed in this way. But with him dead, she joined the church, and she had 6 kids from the age of 12 to 2. She worked as a maid for 2 years and then sewed gloves at night, kids' gloves, to save money to join the LDS Saints here in Utah. She got on April 1856, she got on a ship, sailed to Boston. And from Boston, she got on a train and went to the end of the line, which was then Iowa City. And the first Mormon Handcart company was getting ready to come out to Utah, and she showed up with her 6 kids. Her family didn't want her to go either. They're like, look, you can't take these 6 kids because you're gonna die. They're gonna die. Don't do it. And a Mormon missionary got up, prophesied. He said, if you go, you'll all make it. It's a guarantee from the Lord, I promise you. So that was good enough for her, and she went ahead and went. There were 208 people in this company, and it was the Ellsworth company, and he said, look, I'm not going to be responsible for a single woman and 6 kids under the, and babies. We can't hold up the rest of this company. We're not going to be responsible. She said, I don't need your permission. I'm not asking for it. I'm going. And she said, I'll beat you there. And there's several miracles that happened on their trip across the plains. And you can, one of the items we're going to auction off is this. These aren't the actual books. I got them. They're being shipped to California. I had paid a pretty penny for these books. I didn't want to spend this much money for them. The woman who wrote these books is Gwendolyn Perkins. I had an opportunity to read her 2 weeks ago, and I had no idea that she'd been researching the family since the 1960s. And she put together this book, Sarah Marshall Good, the first lady of the Handcarts. And so you can find out a lot more information in that book. We also got the Diary of John Boyce, the Patriarch. Handmaidens of the Lord, which are all the Boyce women for the last 5 generations, and then Sons of God. So she's compiled all of these books, and we're going to be auctioning those off. And my hope is that whoever gets these books will be the bookkeeper, the keeper of the books, and be willing to share with the family members because they are expensive. And anyone who's interested in learning about the family history will be able to do so in reading these books. And the other thing we have at the auction is this painting. We have a relative who decided to take the 1,400 miles across the plains in honor of his great-grandmother, our great-grandmother, Sarah Marshall Good. It took him, he left on Iowa the exact same day she did and got into Salt Lake City the exact same day she did. He planned it all out. And it gave him carpal tunnel by pulling that handcart by himself. But anyway, when he was done with that, he commissioned a painting of her experience. I hope you can see that. This is Sarah pulling the handcart. This is Council Bluffs, I believe, area. This is our great-grandmother, Louisa, who was 6 at the time. She was the husband of Mark Boyce, who was the father. So they were the parents of John Boyce, who were the parents of Guy Boyce, who were the parents of Gerald Boyce, who are our grandparents. This is her little 2-year-old baby, and this is her little 4-year-old son. And one of the things I really like about the symbolism in the painting is there's a little angel up here on the rock, overlooking the little family as they trek to Utah. And so we're going to auction this off. I'm anxious for you guys to all get your raffle tickets, and it'll be a special thing for you to have in your home, give you a reminder of the sacrifices and hardships our ancestors have been through. So whenever you're having a hard time, you can remember, you didn't have it so bad. You don't have it quite so bad. And so now, yeah, I'm going to introduce, so the way this program's going to go now, I'm going to introduce Patty. She's going to be talking about Norma. I'm going to be, then Daryl, then Dave will be talking about Frank, and Craig will be talking about his grandfather, Guy Boyce, and then Ellen will be talking about our great-grandmother, Dora, his wife. So we'll go to that point, and please help me welcome Patty.